Excellent. Okay, I have 7:01. Let's call the meeting to order now. And board roll call.
Julie Saul.
Corey Rivers. Michael Cornelia.
Robin Kissel. It's the board. We also have our attorney
Paul Kosnick.
and
Guy Patterson, administrator.
Mark
Mark Houston, water and wastewater.
and
Visitor Christopher Webb.
thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the folks that are here. Approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Of last month or this month?
Agenda for today's
The
meeting.
agenda for this month. Okay, sorry.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it'll be approval of the previous minutes last month.
Yes. I motion to approve last month's minutes.
Thanks, Julie.
Sorry.
And Corey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So be. Committee updates. Budget. Julie?
No updates, other than we received the, a draft of the budget from Guy, and we're going through that at some point.
Okay. As for recreation, nothing current or new at this time. Personnel, nothing new there either. Okay. Public comments. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? 5 minutes.
He's trying to connect audio.
No. Oh, that's you. Sorry. And this is where we would have the person speak about.
Is Liz there? She was going to be coming later. She was going to dress up for the trunk or treat presentation part and do a little spiel on it. But
Are you serious?
yes, yes,
So we like.
yes, indeed. She's very tickled with the direction that that's going, but I don't see her on there as of now. So maybe when she comes in, we can allow.
Anybody online like to speak?
Okay, moving right along. Reports from the staff, officers and consultants. District manager, could we get a synopsis of your report, please?
Yep. Did. If you written report. A lot of the work that I'm doing, you're actually seeing in front of you. So not a lot going on. It's not, in front of the board. What is this? The 912. Remember wrong report got put in here.
I just take
Huh?
take a look.
This one? Okay. Thank you.
10.
Knew about the withholding of property taxes. We've updated our property liability insurance. That's kind of a formality. It's not that in depth. This is something La Plata County actually tracked the traffic coming into and out of the district. So there is, for both roads, the service road and your entry road, 2,826 vehicle trips in and out a day. That's hefty.
a lot.
That is heavy. Broadband support letter. There's a group out there called Visionary Broadband who is wanting to get a state grant to build broadband here in the area. I've dealt with these organizations before. The gig is they will get the grant and they will build it and then they will own it and lease it out to the carrier. We won't really have anything to do with it except controlling where they go across our right of way in particular. But they wanted a letter of support, so I gave them one.
Is that also like they'll be in contact with the residents themselves?
If it
or-
gets that far.
Okay.
If it gets that far. So what it may be is I'm not sure who your internet provider is here. is
CenturyLink.
CenturyLink.
and-
So what they may do is they may say, hey, we're building a broadband backbone network. And then CenturyLink, you can use it from this company. The district, since we're not involved building it or funding it, a letter of support, and if they get it, then we're interacting with them on the build out.
Did Clear Networks ever reach out to you?
Not Clear Networks, I got Visionary Broadband is who reached out to me. The fire, a week ago, I was in contact with Mr. Valdez. I was driving back. I talked to him a few times. The issue that really struck me about that is if the fire district says that drawing from our lake may be the quickest, most beneficial means to put out an event that has the ability that's in our district boundaries or may hurt our district because it's close to our boundaries. I was very uncomfortable with the fact that they had to call and get permission.
We have an agreement that's already in
Your agreements
place.
with the feds, not the district. That's fine. When we're looking at it, I was trying to find that we have a reimbursement for the amount, but I was wanting your guys' feedback about maybe me engaging with the fire district kind of on more of a holistic memorandum of understanding between the two agencies. So for instance, an event like that, it's an extraordinary event. They don't have to try to find somebody to do okay. It's like an understood okay, they can do it.
Yeah.
The reimbursement costs, the fact that a couple times a year they land their helicopter or flight for life on our property as part of training. Instead of having to search us out again, it's just understood that they can do that in this area, give us a heads up. So those types of things with the district.
Guess the only thing I want to add to that is, I know, when we had that fire just over there by Little Bear, they actually had a fueling point.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, so they do a fueling point, who's responsible for directing traffic and those types of things. So those are some of the things I would, with your guys, okay, I like to start a conversation with the district just to see if there's any room to have those discussions with them and maybe come up with an MOU. It's not drilled down so tight on every event, but some of the larger things we see and some of the things we may want to give kind of an automatic okay to because it's health, safety, and welfare specifically for the district to see if they're interested in doing that. Is there a general okay with me going?
Yeah, I actually thought we already had that, but
You have something, but it's with the feds is the agreement. I can't actually find anything that's signed like that, but we'll look into it. And then the staff organization, and I'll get you guys those organizational charts. It's cranking along. We are performing interviews for the position that George vacated. Tonight, when you get your reports from the department heads, they're not going to be the robust reports you guys are used to because they just started a week ago. Later on in the agenda, we want to have a conversation with you guys as to how you want us to interact with you, what you want in the reports, how you want them given, those types of things, so we can make sure we're getting that. That is my report. Any questions?
scheduled for.
What was the, traffic count done for?
I'm sorry?
Why'd they do a traffic count?
They were doing a traffic count on the road. When I met with La Plata Road and Bridge, I asked if they're doing that, could they put some wires across us and take our count? Just kind of, I was interested.
They're counting the front end, both front entrances
Yeah.
as one road?
No, you have your front entrance, Alpine Forest Way, whatever it is. And then right next to it, you have that unplatted
Service road.
surface road. This should have been removed 50 years ago, but it hasn't been. So that's what's creating your two exits right next to each other.
And
Then you have the third road down Little Ways. That did not get counted. Just these entryways. That's a big number, man. That's a big
Yeah.
number of people trying to make turns with another lane like right there. I'm gonna steal that sign down there, but as the two entryway thingy, I don't want that. Whatever goes missing, I have no idea.
Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so the staff organization thing has been put in place and is moving forward. You also have the trunk and treat. I see where Liz is joined us now. We want to give her the
Absolutely.
stage on that one at this time. Liz, can you join us?
You have to take yourself off mute.
She's got her hand up.
That's the
That's all.
winner.
Yes, I can join you.
Nice, Liz.
Okay, I just want to remind everybody about the annual Forest Lakes Trunk or Treat. It will be Saturday, October 28th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We'd like all the neighbors to bring their cars and trucks, decorate them, and hand out candy to all of our little Forest Lakes kids. We've done this several years. We probably have had over 100 kids or more just from our neighborhood. And then as the word passes, we have lots of other kids from other communities nearby. So I've posted signs and we hope to see you at our annual Trunk or Treat, October 28th, 5 to 7. See you there.
Thanks, Liz. And there are posters posted throughout,
Does Forest Lakes ever set up a little booth out there?
this year, they're going
Yeah,
to.
this year. Candy, we'll get a, and then, fire department is coming with an apparatus. One of our trucks, as many lights as we can get on, will be down there. Invited the sheriff's department, have not heard back from them. But, those events are a lot of fun with a lot of blinking lights and stuff.
Cool.
And all the kids dressed as shadows running across the road. It's so much.
Clarissa's asked a question about scheduling a trial run on the evacuation.
Who are the guys?
That might be something, now that the road is in good condition and stuff, at least on our side, on our property, that might be something maybe we can do. Do a trial run and see how that works.
Very much so.
Just a practice drill.
We ever, secured an easement to the guy's property for the road?
The road needed work, was last I heard, and that we were going to do it. I don't know if that ever got done.
I think there's been a lot of work done to that road. There was a new buyer at the end.
On our,
No, on Bear Creek.
I'm leaving out.
So last I heard that there's been a lot of work on that road.
Oh, good.
Because a big, new owner down at the end kind of paid for it all.
Wow, excellent.
So that's the last I heard.
Well, that's something that probably needs to be checked and make sure
Yeah.
that we'd be able to get out in a safe manner all the way out.
I thought one of the last meetings, there was a lost key or something and we didn't have all the keys, for Little Bear to open it up.
I think that's combination now, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. We can ask the maintenance guys, ask Daryl if he knows, and we'll find out more information maybe about that.
And obviously they would know about the condition of
Yeah,
the road too.
I think so too.
And I'm looking at.
Thank you, appreciate that. Now, does that pretty much cover the manager stuff?
Yes.
Perfect. Administration, Jamie?
I do not have a report this month. I apologize.
Okay. Daryl? Director of RUM? We can do that. Oh, yeah, I just was on the wrong one. Mark, welcome aboard, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, I threw some things together. I've been here all 5 days now. So from our, this is just stuff that I can remember you guys hearing from previous meetings, but according to SCADA, we treated 4.6 million gallons of drinking water. That's what went out the door. We discharged 1.4 million of wastewater. Definitely. And it tells me people are still watering things, because there's a pretty big discrepancy there. We had 11 locate requests last week we responded to. We had 19 as of end of day today, this week. And that has to do with the Circle Z stuff that's happening and all the electric stuff that's happening. It's a challenge. We did get a report of a hydrant that was damaged up at 24 Deer Ridge. Happy to say that Austin was able to get that dialed in last week. And she was notified by him when it's done. So, speaking of hydrants, it's still a big goal to get the other half of them done this year. It's a kind of a big deal for me. It's kind of a focus. I'm having a hard time getting there because some other things are getting in the way. But I'm hoping the following week, next week, we'll get started back on that again. So. Excellent. Hopefully it'll take not too much more than a week and a half to get that done, fitting in whatever happens. Let's see, we have a leak on Snowbird that I found out about. We're gonna try to address that Thursday. It's on our pumping main, so we're gonna have to turn off. We're gonna be isolated from our tanks for the time it takes to fix that. Tomorrow afternoon, Austin and I are going to go out and expose valves or try to find valves in which to isolate with. There shouldn't be too many people out of water. There's probably potential for about 11 or 12 folks, plus the firehouse, plus the shop, plus Harrington's down here.
Do we need to let everybody know that that's a possibility?
So I had talked to Shauna this morning.
Okay.
And you guys have a notification process that you're paying $100 a month for. And we're gonna start utilizing that for this kind of notifications. Whether they get it or not, I'm not entirely sure how it works just yet. But we will also have a blurb on the website. So if somebody comes home and their water's off, if they have the wherewithal to look on the website, there'll be something talking about that. And moving forward, most of the time, if we have the option to notify, it's not like an emergency or something like this one, I guess they've known about for a little while. And if we have the ability to schedule a fix, everybody's going to be notified a week or so before that. Because if it's going to be down for a while, you want them to have some buckets of water for flushing and something for drinking. Yeah, so. Yes, to answer your question, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Full of coffee. Let's see here. Kind of a thing that's happening in the works here that's a little bit serious. Let me go with something not quite so serious. We've completed about a third of the duckweed removal in our number 4 cell down at the wastewater plant. It's something that happens each year this time. We don't necessarily want all that organic material to die and become its own process coming out of our effluent. It can create problems with compliance and stuff. So we're about a third to maybe a little over a third of that done. Hopefully we'll be done with that in the next 3 or 4 work days. So we did test voluntarily for PFAS chemicals here at Forest Lakes. It's a program that the state of Colorado has paid for, and we did get positive hits. And we are over their proposed limits by a little bit. So we are going to have to do a public notification of this. And I've done some calculations and stuff, and I think that if I'm reading things right, I'm going out tomorrow in this very room. We have a meeting at 9 o'clock with a Zoom meeting to discuss this further. But they have a limit, and if we eliminate one of our wells, mathematically we'll be below that limit. So that is probably the direction we'll go for the time being. Which we do lose some production. And then there will be a public notification that comes out probably on the billing cycle at the end of the month.
And have you ran the numbers, make sure we keep up with demand?
Well, we're coming into the slower time of year, so, you know, it's gonna extend our runs a little bit, but the runs that I've seen have only been maybe between 8 and 10 hours. So, this potentially down the road could lead to another treatment process, which means that. So there's a potential there. We'll find out more information tomorrow. And I can let you guys know, what's going on with that. It is weird.
April didn't test for PFAS. I mean, well, we tested for it, but we didn't test positive.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if Vicito is like a giant catcher's mitt and it settles to the bottom and
That's
comes
what we
out.
know.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. It makes me nervous thinking about you guys. PFAS is like, they call them forever chemicals. They're basically like Teflons, stuff like that. They're in your nonstick cookware. They're in papers that hamburgers get wrapped in. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're in all kinds of stuff. We are very easily regulated because we're already under the thumb of CDPHE. Whether or not everything else will get regulated, I don't know. So the verbiage that you'll see sounds very scary, but at the same time, when we put it out, I mean, I can show it to you, moving on, but I have a copy of it here. But it also is based on a lifetime of ingestion. Okay, so it would be unlikely that you would drink that same water your entire life.
I think once a lot of quarter pounders do. Just
Well, you know, it drives me a little bit batty because, you know, we're just easily regulated, so it's coming out. You know, we're still on the hook for the lead service line inventory, which we have not heard about the application I sent in for funding and that kind of stuff for help. I'm gonna try to get a hold of somebody this next week and see if I can't find out what's going on. Because they keep advertising it, you know, we signed up for the grant. Yeah, a month and a half ago. I haven't heard anything, so. Anyway, that's pretty much my report.
A lot of good
With a
information there.
shotgun there. of
That's
information.
wonderful. Thank you. Well done.
Glad to have you on board.
Oh, thank you.
We're talking about that league. We thought about doing an IGA with Durango or even Bayfield. For like backers support or anything like that in case of emergencies.
And you guys would probably be the best candidate for water, wastewater.
Yeah.
Yeah, county wouldn't, and Durango's
Or
pretty far.
They don't seem real friendly either.
Wait a minute.
Well, no, I would be curious in trying to get an IGA established with neighboring community that has equipment to help support forest leaks and events where it's needed,
For water, wastewater.
or even roads.
That'd be nice. Thank you, Mark. Director of ROM, roads, right of way, open space, maintenance, Daryl?
So I'm the same as Mark. I'm just going by kind of what I've heard in the past. So we've continued work on roads. We have done Forest Lakes Drive, Mesa Drive, Hillside Drive, Timber Drive, Elk Drive, Berry Drive. We've started spotting roads to try to get potholes taken care of before the snow flies. Of course, we would like to do the whole road, but we kind of need to get those addressed before the snow flies. The roads that we have not done and have not completed this year and rebuilt will be first on the list for next year. Of course, the loop is the highest priority first next year, and then any roads that get damaged heavily by the plows. We rebuilt and cleared the debris and the road and everything around the parking at the lake. We are continuing to clean up around the front entrance, mowing, trimming, etc. I have called for bids for the mail stop. I did have one guy come and look at it yesterday. Or sorry, Friday. And I have 2 more guys coming to look at it on Thursday. I'm still waiting on the bid from the first guy that came and looked at it. I did order the material to fix the panels at the shop. I should have those sometime, probably either tomorrow or the day after. As soon as I get those in, we'll put those up. The new trucks are complete with sanders and plows. They're registered as of today. I did order the snow chains. They haven't arrived yet, but they're on the way. We did have Lynn, our district mechanic, start inspecting plow trucks earlier last week. He got 2 trucks. Still waiting to hear on what we need to do for the 3rd truck on the side wing, on how we can get that to start benching. I did call for bids for the decals on the side of the trucks, and also the sign at the front of the administration building that I've heard y'all ask about several times. Do have one bid on that. I'm waiting on a couple of other bids. The one bid that I did get was 500 and hang on, I can tell you the exact number. Total price.
Uninstalled.
Nope.
Installed?
Uninstalled, yes.
And they charge us
515.
extra one a mock-up of it.
No, so I guess me and her had we weren't communicating very well, I guess. So she'll show us a mock-up of it, but if we want any extra detail or anything like that done to the sign, which I told her we didn't, then she would charge extra, which would be a total of $50. But what I envisioned was just the decal with the address up underneath it, hanging on probably 4x4 wooden post. The total was $515.91. That's for the sign. And that sign measures 48 foot wide by 24 inches tall. With an address sign underneath it that's the same width, 48 inches, and then the height of 6 inches. Should be plenty visible from the road. And then that was also including 12 final decals for the trucks. We need a total of 9. I figured a couple extra just in case one gets peeled off or gets holes in it or anything like that.
Can you clarify? I'm not real certain what you're talking about as far as signs. Is this the sign out here?
So you have that kind of handwritten, yeah. That's gonna be replaced by a 40-inch wide sign that says, just Forest Lakes Metro District offices and the address.
Okay.
And then one other thing I'll add to his report real quick is on the roof of the mail stop. We have contacted our insurance. We have $1,000 deductible, so we'll be paying part of that. Then we'll file a claim for the rest of it. Sorry, Daryl.
Nope, you're good. So tomorrow, Guy and I will be looking for the new location for the trash dump improvement. We would like to move it and make it more accessible for the residents. Something easier than climbing those stairs that we have. They get real slick in the wintertime. They're hard for a lot of residents to go up and down them. I've witnessed it firsthand myself. I will be getting with La Plata, CDOT, and Bayfield, Corey Griffs. on getting some information on snow planning procedures and improve our existing plans. And later this month, we will be all going together as a as a department to gain more insight on drainage through the Colorado LTAP classes. As a lot of people know, we had a fire this month in the Slash area. We're cleaning that up right now. It's taking a little bit. We're going to have to drag it and get everything out of there. We're also going to have to drag it with a magnet to make sure there's no, nails or screws or anything like that. Considering the event, we will be installing two 20-pound fire extinguishers on each side to ensure that, just for the protection of our residents, in case anything happens with them. We're also going to put a box down there. We already have all the equipment for hoses and valves and wrenches, but we would like to have it in one located area so that it's more accessible and we're not having to hunt for equipment. I have also had McKnight Trucking hauling in the chips that we will need for traction on the roads in the winter. That's pretty much all I have right now. Like I said, as far as the plow trucks and everything else, as far as our regular trucks, they're all operational and good. I don't really know what the state of the plow trucks are, other than I know 3 were working last year when we parked them. We're looking at them currently right now.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sarah. Do we know what started the fire there at the Slash file?
We don't have any certain indication on how the fire was started. There was no one around it when it first started smoking, and then about 5 minutes later, someone was there, but he was unloading and not even in the area where it started the ignition.
Interesting. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments, anyone? That'll take us to financial. Leslie?
Hi. I can hear you guys a lot better this week than, or at this meeting. Did you guys do something different with your audio?
No, we're just speaking up.
No? Well, it's a lot easier to hear, so thank you. So did everybody get the budget versus actual report that I sent around
Yes, thank you.
a couple days ago? I thought maybe we should probably just sort of concentrate on that. You have a long agenda, it looks like, tonight, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But I will say that I did go through and highlight all of the expense items that are 100% of budget or over. And there are about 20 line items that are showing at budget already at this point in the beginning of October. So that's something we need to look at. And when I was looking through it, I sort of saw that, I think that as a staff, we have some more work to do in drilling down in some of these accounts and making sure that everything is really coded where the budget has directed things to be coded. For example, in outside services, I see it shows like under roads that 101,000 has been spent so far this year against a $61,000 budget. And so when I drill down to see what that was, well, there's gravel crushing in there. And I think that gravel crushing is actually supposed to go into capital outlay. And so, that particular line item, if you look at the outside services for all 3 funds, it's like more than $100,000 over budget at this point. But I think like that 150,000 will be cleared out and we'll move that to capital expenses. And I think that in a number of these line items, there's stuff like that. So, that's sort of a staff project. I think we probably need to get together and start having some staff meetings and, The software problems seem to be pretty much resolved. I'm so excited about that. We're really wrapping up the Cassell part of it. All the modules are in balance with each other now, and we're at a point where we can really start focusing on the data. So it's all good overall. You know, we're pretty much right where we're supposed to be, like in the 75% range, and we're about 75% of the year. So I don't think there's anything really concerning. It's just that some items are way over, some items are way under. And like capital expenditures is only showing like 50,000 for the year, and it's a $500,000 budget. So I'm thinking there's a few items we probably spent that just maybe aren't in the right place under capital outlay yet. So a little more work to do, but we're getting there, and I'm excited to see the progress. Does anybody have any specific questions they want to ask?
No, but I'll add to your report. Talking about going through these, looking at them more closely, drilling down on them. What I started tonight, what I'm doing this week, is I'm going line by line through every single one of these lines. I printed down 2/3 of them, you know, that much of the documents. But I'm going line by line in each one of these lines, every transaction to make sure it's in the right place. So that is going to take me about 4 or 5 days, I think, to get through, but it's got to happen. So
yeah, all right. Well, give me
wiggling.
Need any help with it? I did figure out how to pull a report in Cassell that you know, for each particular expense item that details everything for the year. And so, you know, if I can pull any of that stuff for you, or we can work on it together, let me know.
Will do.
Wonderful. Thanks, Leslie. Okay. Moving on to property tax collection year to date. Looks like we've received all of the lovely property taxes, the $704,709. Moving to the water pump. Exhibit A, September. We pumped an unknown million gallons of water between the 4 wells.
Stated to 4.6 on the way.
And this is your well report.
Back here. Okay, yeah, it's here in our packet as well. That says like 1,854,000 gallons more than last time this year. That's probably a good part because we have construction going on as well too.
It's hard to say, you know, people are keeping things going with some of these warmer temperatures. I myself let my yard die, but some people didn't. So, you know, there are other things that are happening out there too with roads and stuff, you know, pulling water into the water truck and using them on the roads and stuff that, you know, Daryl's crew will be accounting some of that for, you know. And with as industrious as he is, that could be a substantial amount.
One thing we've started doing, we're reading for a little while, get some meters that didn't get billed, so they weren't read. So I've asked that every meter in the district is read. There's some that we won't bill, I think, like the fire department don't bill, right? But the district has a vested interest to see where every drop of water goes.
Yes.
So we're reading those and they'll be in our calculations, but they won't be in our billing. But we want to know, plus it's we have SCADA, we have everything in the system, but the it's kind of an old fashioned fallback for finding a leak. You know, so if you're, sorry?
Why don't we build a fire department
I don't know,
for
but we
water
don't.
use?
I don't know. I guess we don't. I think there's some other, like, we don't bill ourselves for water. We have meters, stuff like that, so I don't know. It's my understanding we don't. And that's not uncommon. I mean, I've been in places where we didn't bill because, but
We do.
you guys don't. I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but my understanding is we don't bill. But irregardless, we're reading now every meter. Making sure we're tracking our water.
I think that's a good idea anyway. Especially to find leaks in the sort anyway.
Well, man, doesn't make sense to me. We're not billing them for potable water, but we got an agreement to bill them for water to take out of the lake.
Yeah. Might wanna check that.
I think that might go into the augmentation program, with the grid and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be not necessarily under our control.
Hey, Shauna, do you, just off the top of your head, know, some of the entities that get water from us, but we're not billing?
As far as I know, it's just the fire department, and it was part of the agreement from way back when that we didn't bill them. We don't bill them for trash services either.
Okay, that's good to know. Still, thank you.
Like I said, I've seen where that happens, where the district doesn't get billed because it's in our best interest. The old town I worked in, though, they make me mad because they do their trainings and they discharge just thousands of gallons of water. Stop wasting my water. Or at least discharge it on the lawn, not in the street.
Usable. Is somewhat. Okay, that takes us to number 8, special business, action board appointing board member. We had three folks that have turned in a letter of interest. Chris, I think you're the only one that's actually here right now. Did you want to add anything to your?
Just if you guys had any questions for me, feel free.
What makes you want to be a part of the board?
Well, I live in Forest Lakes and I really care about this neighborhood and raising my family here, so I love this neighborhood. I just would love to do any little thing I can to try to make it a better place if possible, so.
So one thing just to keep in mind too is that there is a requirement to attend all board meetings, all executive sessions, and you can only miss 3 per year, correct? Per year.
This is the last 3, and this is the third.
It says here on consecutive.
Consecutive,
Yeah. Down at the bottom there.
okay,
If you have that.
yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that.
Sure.
Okay.
Did you have any questions for the board?
No, not at the moment. If you guys had anything else for me, that'd be, once we working with you guys, so.
How long have you lived here in Forest Lakes?
Since 2015. You live across from Jan.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. When you were removing snow and stuff, I believe. Yeah. Plenty of that. So, yeah. Okay.
Have you ever served on a board in any capacity?
No, I actually ran like 2020 members, we probably 20 people, 5 or 6.
Yeah, you were on the application for the election
Got
there.
all weird COVID, it was out first time. Interesting.
Yeah.
Just to verify, Mr. Moore or Mr. Jenkins, either of you online?
Well, and I believe, Mr. Moore would be available if needed, but isn't overly interested. I think he's withdrawing his name from the list. So, so we narrow it down to two. Bryce, who sent us a letter, he was the first one. Bryce Jenkins, and he's with Upper Pine Fire or River Fire Protection District. Was it said that he was working this
He
evening?
got a hold of me, sent me an email saying, I can't attend, I'm working. I'll get out of it. Is there any other time we can do this? I said, no, it's now, but we have your letter. You can zoom in if you can. But that's where we're at. I did not feel comfortable delaying this, for you guys unilaterally.
And he's been a resident since 2018. Lives on Mesa Drive.
Well, I like the fact that you've been here for a long time. I like the fact that Bryce has been here for a long time. Knowing the resident, you know, how the Forest Lakes runs.
So Paul, we were talking earlier, I told the board that they could make a motion in a second. If they felt uncomfortable with that, they could do scraps of paper with a nominee on it. Whoever won that would be, still have to have a motion, second to be appointed. Do you have any other options or any concerns with those?
No, so I mean, the other, when was the vacancy first announced?
It was
So long ago.
yeah, it was 35,
Okay.
37 years ago, not 60.
Yeah,
it's over 30.
it was like on the 8th or something
It was right before the last meeting.
September, just like the day or two before
Mhm.
the last meeting.
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say is if you want to continue to allow this other person, you know, an opportunity to speak again, you could do that. That's the only other thing.
It'd be nice.
Is that in the timeline? For next meeting?
So on September 8th, Steve resigned.
So you'd be pretty close to the time limit, but you know, I doubt the county commissioner, are jumping to appoint somebody for this.
Right.
So, I think you would probably be okay if you waited till then.
Oh, no, Commissioner Soka now. I should be good.
Anybody have thoughts here?
Um,
They need a motion
To continue it, yeah.
Yeah.
You would have to make a motion if you want to continue.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a motion either way.
Well, I think my standpoint on it is. We already announced this and put it on the agenda. I don't see the need to prolong it.
I'd agree. It's been put out there for quite a while. We made a public announcement pretty quick after the resignation, so.
Yeah, at the meeting we did for sure. Yeah. So,
from my perspective, I appreciate everybody that went through and put in their letters and interests. But I, for one, would like to motion that Bryce Jenkins be appointed.
1 second.
Though I don't want to fault I'm not faulting anybody for having to work and not being able to show up. I do appreciate that, one individual has been here in person. So I do appreciate that. And I guess that's where I would lean.
I guess I have a question for probably the attorney. What happens in the event, there's a tie on this?
Well, so there has to be a second for the motion to be heard here and then voted on. So it's either voted yea or down, for or against. Then if it fails, then another motion has to be made and you guys can sit here all night until you get something that passes. So.
But a motion dies without a second.
Right,
So
right.
if there's no second for a motion, that dies. And then it's up to you to make a motion to, try to appoint somebody else, waylay it. You have a couple options from there, but that's where you're at right now. So you have a motion on the floor.
Bonnie, it's Bonnie. More discussion, maybe? Is that possible?
Sure.
Okay, I do like the way that Bryce put his letter together. He had more information about how long he's been here, what he does. Yeah, that's my reluctancy, is the effort that was put in, showing the interest of being on the board. So I appreciate you putting your letter in. That means a lot. And all of the other candidates that did, I appreciate that they showed interest in stuff. I would have liked to have seen more information in the way of like how long you've been here and stuff, but you do arrive and you have been here the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks now, I think, in a row. And I appreciate that you're here. As for Bryce, are you guys familiar? Has he come to any of the meetings? And is he even available on Tuesdays? Does anyone know? That part I don't know.
That was one of the questions I was gonna ask him.
Yes.
Was there going to be a conflict with him?
And I thought it was more like an interview, like you guys are gonna be asking questions, so I didn't think I needed like a resume. So to speak.
Oh, I'm gonna come back to you here in a minute. Give me a second.
Can we safely say that that motion is done, for lack of a second?
I assume so.
At this point, it's still being discussed. So it's not dead. It's just not you.
Well, you know me.
What kind of background do you have in this kind of politics that you deal with?
I hesitate to call it politics.
Well, neither do I, but that's what it is.
I mean, I own a business. I have 9 employees, so I mean, I see similar issues, and I'm just hoping I can give a little bit of.
Business side point of it, you have the financial background, so you could help us prepare a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I see, but I have a budget of my own. I have a business, obviously, it's something I deal with every day. You know, personnel.
You keep your own book, or you pay somebody?
Yeah, I'm the accountant, CEO, estimator, field guy, do it all. Fleet maintenance.
So for special meetings and like they were talking about Tuesday nights, would it ever be an issue for you? Do you foresee it being an issue?
Nope. They're pretty good. Obviously, there's other places I could be and would rather be, but like I said, it's
Same for all of
pretty
us.
important place we live, so.
Yeah,
That's not true. You live with us.
I love it.
Well, I do like to check that you have control.
The water.
I do too, and one of the things, that I'm having to learn here is it's not that we can really do a whole lot as far as board. Guy runs Forest Lakes, and he's got all of his employees, and we give input that we can and try and approve different things.
Well, seems like you're helping and changing things if you want, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can request some, but he's definitely
Steer it in the right direction.
taking the lead, and Yeah.
Mr. Guy.
so he basically reports to us.
Cause I'm sure you have a bunch of neighbors, you have a bunch of neighbors.
How thick is your skin?
I try to avoid the social media.
Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with the recent comments on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, there was even that from just that Zoom meeting in 2020, I was like, I don't know. It's a little out there, a little crazy, but like I said, I care about this neighborhood, so. Yeah, care for the neighborhood and my family.
Yeah. And one thing Robin has had to point out to us newbies, which is me and Michael and it was Steve at the time, was that we have to represent as a whole, as a board. We can't represent Forest Lakes individually.
Sure.
So making, comments on social media, unless other than what we did about the budget and all that stuff. We have to,
Tactfully representing Forest Lakes when necessary.
Being professional.
yeah,
Which isn't always easy.
Sure.
yeah.
But I don't really do much social media.
Either.
Okay.
Do you want to stick with the motion that you made, or do you want to alter it, or what do you thought? You made the motion.
I think I would like to alter it.
Okay, would you still make
Yeah,
the
and
motion
I
then?
think I would like to motion that Chris be appointed. He seems to have his heart into it and really wants to be part of it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Welcome aboard, Chris.
You're stuck with.
No, you're.
Oh.
This is
You're
a
it with us,
4-year term now.
It is a 4-year term.
Actually, that's not exactly true. Come the next election you'll be, in that group.
Your seat will be up for grabs.
Yes, so instead of there just being two for next election, there'll be three.
I see. Okay.
Because he is appointed,
I see. Yeah.
okay?
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, so welcome aboard and, you still got over a year with us here.
I look forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
So I think the next order of business is you'll have to get sworn in by Jamie and.
Yeah, there's the oath that you'll have to take, get sworn in and all that, and, we'll get more information from you in the way of contact.
The table.
Okay, well, thank you, and thanks to those that did put a letter in, we really appreciate that. Any help that we can get, we definitely look forward towards. Moving on to,
Can I make something?
yes, please.
Jamie, would you be reaching out to Chris, or does Chris just need to come in and see you?
Yes, he'll just have to get a hold of me and we'll schedule a time where he can come in. And then we'll take care of the oath and sign off.
Thank you.
All right?
Excellent. Yeah, he was on the ballot, by the way, Clarissa. Go on to number 9 now. That's where I'm going. Unfinished business, action, no parking and towing policy. That's where we're at right now.
Okay. So currently, your tow policy is in a internal memorandum to staff. Came out 4 or 5 years ago. What this is a tow policy that will actually go into your rules and regulations. There's two parts to this. So what I've just handed out, let's go with the first part. The first part's a resolution amending your rules and regulations. So it's that formal document you have. This will be a section that'll be added to it and formalized. And that starts at the bottom of the resolution, 5.3. So it has there's no overnight parking between 10 and 6. The district can issue a ticket at any time. Warnings when practical. A warning ticket or verbal communication will be given prior to towing the vehicle. Some things about winter maintenance, other matters relating to snow removal. So that is what's going to be on your out facing in your rules and regs. Everybody will know, everybody adheres to. The second document that I want you to look at, and so that's what you'll be voting on. The second document is internally what our non-consensual tow policy is going to be and how we're going to put that together. So the notice is when practical prior to towing. Metro District will provide notice to the vehicle owner by placing a written notice on the windshield. And the following information. When district staff issues a notice, they'll do the following. They'll take a picture of the vehicle, establishing the location, documenting the violation. As soon as possible, the picture, time, date, location will be sent to the district manager. Contact the next tow company in rotation. After the vehicle has been towed, contact La Plata County Sheriff to notify them. Vehicles may be towed without notice. The vehicle may be towed when any of these below criteria are met. So it blocks the district roadway enough to effectively obstruct access. During the snow season, any vehicle parked within the right of way dedicated to the public within the district during the storm or for 48 hours thereafter, regardless of the amount of time has been parked. Vehicle is parked in a designated no parking area. Continuing on, the district under signage, the district is going to increase its efforts of providing signage throughout the district. So detailing and reinforcing no parking areas, restricted parking, snow event policies, etc. Signage through the district that any vehicle parked in violation of parking regulations is subject to towing at the vehicle owner's expense. And then where we're going to post that information. The use of tow companies. So I had a conversation with the La Plata Sheriff's Department. How they do it, how they recommended we do it, is we contract with tow companies. Okay. And then we keep them on rotation. So hopefully minimum 2. If we can get more, that's great. The Sheriff's Department told me who they've worked with, who they like, who they don't like. So what will happen is we'll issue an RP, contract with these companies, and then that's who the person who needs their vehicle will be contacting, is the tow company. If practical, the district shall contract with at least 2 towing companies of good standing. District shall include in the contract, the district is not responsible for any cost associated with towing. And the district shall rotate calls among the contracted companies to provide towing services. So that is how internally we will handle your policy that you are establishing in your rules and regs. Does that make sense, or did I make mud out of that?
No, I think it makes sense. I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Anybody have questions about that?
I think my concern is kind of what we talked about, and when I met up with you the other day. During some of the larger snowstorms, it wasn't being plowed in the evening, and especially up higher. And so I know there were plenty of residents that had to park kind of by the bus stop. And maybe a family only had one 4-wheel drive. They could get that vehicle up, but not any other vehicle. And so what would happen in a situation like that where even the loop wasn't being maintained during a snowstorm, so access was very limited?
If they contact the district and let us know that, hey, we can't get up to our house, we're parking here, we're taking one 4-wheel drive, we're probably not going to take it. That's reasonable. we're more concerned. And in a snow event, that's kind of less our concern, right? We are really concerned about on the hillside, getting people up and down that as safely as we can. If they make a decision in their household that we can't get up there, you know, we have a rear-wheel drive car or whatever it might be, we're not used to snow. If they would let us know that they're parking there, we would, or parking in this lot, I think we'd be aesthetic with that.
Okay.
If they are, and I think also you know, people here need to understand, they know 2 or 3 days in advance when an event's coming. I don't know how big it is, you know, maybe 12 inches, and then somebody, you know, we get 19 or 20 inches, or we get 2 inches in the dusting. But it is going to be up to some of the citizens to understand that when it's snowing, we need you off the right of way. We need to be able to get the plows through. And a bottleneck on a lower road may cause real problems on a road we can't get there.
Yeah.
Right. So we will be in communication with people who we know are kind of recidivists, and ticketing and towing so that we can get our trucks through. You know, I guess I'd be less inclined to really target the overnight places, although that's important. This is really kind of to give us
The right way.
if we need the right of way dealt with in the snow events. That is the number one thing that this really is all about. Secondarily is taking care of our roads, making sure that emergency services can get through and all that stuff. I think that's how it would be handled. In your opinion, do you think that's gonna be a lot of people?
No, right away. During, I think, what was that big one? The first one, how many inches was that?
I don't remember.
I spent quite a while up and down, like yanking people out. And you know, and in the evening, just to get people to their homes, yanking people out. And that was kind of my concern about the plowing, you know. Is there gonna be one in the evening? If not, like I said, some of them smaller cars, is that available to them, you know, maybe during that one night to park by the bus stop off the right of way?
I really, you know, even, and we're not gonna be so strict and screwing everybody. Even if
I'm
it says
just-
no,
yeah.
let the note say,
Yeah,
hey, we're carpooling, we left this car down here because it doesn't function. We hopefully see that and
absolutely.
be cool with it.
Yeah, and I'm just asking for the residents. I know, like I said, I spent hours during some of them snowstorms.
Staff is gonna have a little discretion, a little common sense, and a little leeway. They need kind of all three of those things to do their job. And then that also kind of brings up the issue of snow plowing this year.
Yeah.
Carol. So,
But also residents, you live on the mountain. It is what it is.
All of the above.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
real quick about these resolutions, or real quick here. You don't have to approve this evening, right? They have a motion language in there. If you're uncomfortable with them, if you want us to send it back, keep working on it. But, or if you want to approve them now, that's just great. But if you have any issues, you want us to keep working, whatever, let us know. But we thought that this was an important one to get for you.
Yes.
Daryl, can you chime in?
I was just giving Daryl a brief about plowing the roads.
No, we typically do give permission to park down at the, you know, the bus stop area. All we ask is that, you know, they try to get as far back as possible so we can keep that area opened up for, you know, future people to park and people to be able to get out of there and not have a huge berm in front of them. I do agree kind of with Guy on some of it. We did have people last year completely parking in the middle of the roads, and they were 15 feet from their driveway. That was a huge concern. That was one of the roads that we didn't get to get plowed that night because, you know, some people took it upon themselves to just stop in the middle of the road instead of trying to get down into their driveways. I guess for fear of trying to get back out of their driveways, which I understand that's a concern too. And we're looking at different ways to try to ease the berm, I guess. I don't think we'll ever get rid of it, but ease it for sure.
Sounds good. Thanks, Daryl. Then I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the resolution 2304. The resolution to amend the Forest Lakes Metropolitan District rules, regulations, and laws regarding the district's right-of-way parking and towing. Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
So it is approved.
Very appreciative. We will get that out. We're going to do, we may even do a direct mail it to all the citizens here. It'll be on our website. We'll post things, around the district. Really try to get this across to people that, it's a, without was sounding corny, it is kind of a team effort. Like, we need people off the roadways to get through. We'll be judicious about towing, and we're going to be road. Well,
Moving on to 10, new business. Memo from the attorney on covenants.
okay.
What's that?
Let me turn this covenants discussion over to you.
Perfect. So the resolution that I think is before you guys tonight is trying to clarify, I think, outstanding questions that have probably persisted for decades on covenants and the role of the district. And I think, the starting point for the board to understand is that really under the current covenants, the district has no role. Meaning, the only way that a metro district can legally enforce covenants is one, if the covenants expressly say the district can't enforce the covenants, or if there's a contract between like a homeowners association that can enforce it, and the metro. So there's only two ways, that a metro district can step in and enforce covenants. So in this case, you have neither of those. You don't have authority in any of the covenants to do it, and there's no homeowner association to contract with who enforced covenants. So I think that's a good thing to kind of keep in mind, that there's covenants out there, they affect the entire vision, but really the district has no, there's nothing the district can do with those covenants. The second kind of point really is
Guy, can you hear me? You guys are muted.
Okay.
Say it again.
Do you think this is our connection doing this? Bouncing us?
I do believe so, but you're back
Yep,
and
okay.
we're still recording.
So some of the covenants have been deemed invalid by courts, but there's a lot of covenants out there, affecting these properties. And the only way they're legally going to be deemed invalid is by courts. I mean, you can have attorneys, fight over whether they're valid or invalid. But again, getting back to point one, that's not your role. It's not your role to determine, whether these are valid or invalid, because it would take a lot of work and a lot of resources. I don't think you want to pay, me, any attorney, tons of money to determine whether these covenants are invalid or valid. So I think, really the position for the board to understand is, one, we don't have a role in enforcing these covenants. Two, to actually determine whether they're legally invalid or invalid is a complicated question that takes a lot of, research to try to figure out. And then it's only an opinion. You have to have a court actually deem whether something is valid or invalid. And then in the end, they'll probably still show up on somebody's title report when they move here. And they'll see, wow, man, I have all these covenants affecting my property. It's not going to say, this one's invalid, this one's invalid. It's just going to say, what affects the property. And so overall, I think the messaging for the district, the one that, can provide some information to the owners is one, look, we don't really have a role in these. Two, these have been deemed, some of the covenants have been deemed invalid, and it's likely that some of the other ones are too, but to actually make a determination on it, it's kind of out of our scope of what we do. And, if somebody really wants to dig into it, it's going to require a lot of time, on an attorney's part. And then the final part is that, as you guys know, there's no property owners association. It was dissolved somewhere around 2009 based on all those lawsuits. It went bankrupt. It, had to pay, hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees for losing all the court cases. So if there's an interest in kind of pursuing a property owners association, that's for, other owners to form their own kind of committees and groups to try to figure out whether they can do that again. But it's kind of, all this is outside the scope of what you guys do and what, a district does right now. So I think that's kind of just the message to try to help clarify for owners out there.
So was it the district that actually created those covenants, or was it the POA that created those?
Well, originally it was the original developer, create the covenants, and then it got transferred to the association, and the association, tried to amend them over time, and whether they did it properly or, legally or not. I mean, these are all like legal questions and historic questions. So the district never was involved in amending, covenants because they, again, in the rule.
Correct.
So
I wasn't sure if it was our role to actually say to abolish them or leave them where they are, or
yeah, I mean, they just legally have to remain where they are until a court. You can't do anything with them. And again, even if every one of you agreed and I agreed and I told you, oh, well, I think, these covenants are invalid. That's just my opinion. That's your opinion, and you need a court to say these are invalid and, they have to be removed from the property records, or deemed null and void from the property records.
So it would take like a neighbor going against a neighbor based on the original covenants to discover if it's even valid.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a court action, somebody trying to enforce them against somebody else, and then a court saying, no, they're not valid, you can't enforce them. So.
Is there a way to get the courts to abolish them completely, or?
Lawsuits.
Oh, okay.
that's kind of how we don't have a POA anymore, is because of the court system on that, as I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, that's my understanding, just looking at some historical records that, when that lawsuit was lost, in the mid-2000s there, because the HOA tried to enforce covenants and the court said, no, they're invalid. You lose, you have to pay their attorney's fees, the person they're trying to enforce against, and that was kind of the end.
Can somebody still sue the POA, even though it's no longer valid, and Forest Lake's having to come up with money for a legal?
No.
We have nothing to do with it, as I'm hearing.
Yep.
That would have been the POA and not the district.
Correct.
So it's just a recommendation that's out there in La La Land, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I think, I think some of the confusion came up because I looked at the website and there's like a memo on there and where all the covenants are provided on there. So it leads an owner to believe, okay, look, there's these covenants. Great. Let's, read them. And why aren't, why isn't my neighbor doing X, Y, Z district? Come on in and help me. And there's also a memo on there implying that the district has some kind of role, in the enforcement of covenants as well. So I think, one of the things would be helpful is cleaning up, the website and not including the covenants in there, because again, it's not a role for, the district, and also cleaning up maybe that memo that maybe implies that the district has some greater role than, legally it actually does.
So what I hear you saying is basically we would be smart to clear our website, not offer those covenants for any review or anything. They still exist, but we don't put them on our website and say that we endorse them because we can't. We can't enforce them. We can't do anything with them as a district.
Correct. So I brought this to you guys. I brought it to Paul. Number 2 on the second page of the resolution. To avoid any further confusion, the district board of directors direct staff to remove all references to covenants on the district website and any and all the public documents, which we just talked about. I kind of want that language in there, or similar language to that, to drive a stake through this whole notion that covenants is followed in this district. Because when I first got here, we were quoting it to people. People were seeing it. They're asking if they have to build their house that way. And so I just wanted to make it really clear in resolution that from a staff point of view, I guess from a district point of view, we're kind of driving a stake through the heart of this thing, just to clear it up as much as possible. Your attorneys brought up some points about, you know, a landowner may want to have an attorney review them, see if they're applicable, whatever. But from our point of view, we just want to make it clear that those are not followed anymore. And that's why we're looking at stuff in your rules and regulations to put some of the bigger issues there.
Yes. Is that comment from before or? Yeah, I don't know if it's from before since we started over. Is that the earlier one?
No, that's a different question.
Okay.
So back to our covenances. Let's see, I make a motion that we approve resolution 2305, a resolution addressing the district's role with interpreting or enforcing Forest Lakes covenants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nice, so passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't want to chase chickens out there? Guy?
No, you guys feel free.
Okay.
See, we had that little thing where you had the hook on it. How you do the chickens? I hate getting that close, so I got like a broom handle and put a hook on it. It was a 7-year-old that could get like 60. Yeah.
Moving right along. New business B, action amending closed holidays in November.
Okay. So we were looking through the personnel policies, and there's a lot of things I think we should look at in the policy. But instead of waiting to do kind of an omnibus approach to amending the handbook, I did pick this one issue out, so that if it's approved by the board, my staff can start making decisions about how they're spending their holidays. So as you can see, we have offer 10 paid holidays here. Other places offer more. Durango, Pagosa, La Plata, they have 11. Cortez offers 13 days. What I'm proposing is Indigenous Peoples Days, which we had yesterday. That gets moved to the day after Thanksgiving. And then we add a Christmas Eve day off so that your staff here gets Thanksgiving Day and the day after Thanksgiving. Because that is right now, it's Thanksgiving, and then the day after Thanksgiving, they have to work. And that's really hard to find people to be here to do that. It limits who can go away for family stuff. And then Christmas is kind of the same thing where somebody's gonna have to work Christmas Eve. And then everybody gets Christmas Day off. Christmas Eve, day after Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve. I did not add New Year's Eve to this, but those days in particular, nobody does any business. It's just people be here alone. We have 1 or 2 people come in, maybe because everybody assumes you're closed. I think it gets us a little closer to what other people in the area are offering for days off, but it's not exorbitant. And I brought it up so that we could, if you guys approve it, then our staff can start making decisions about how they're gonna spend negotiations.
Well, I see that you've got here that there's no physical impact on the budget.
No, you're paying for those days anyway, right? So if somebody takes them for vacation, it's a paid vacation. Right? It's not like we're not paying them. It's a paid vacation. So whether they take it or not, we're still paying for it, essentially. They're either here or they're on vacation.
Is there, so there would be somebody on call? for
On-call
snow
stuff
and
with on-call
water,
stuff is
whatever?
on-call stuff,
Okay,
but, you know, like office staff and like that.
yeah,
But no, on-call is still on-call. They're still gonna have to be worked out.
Yep.
Some places, Cortez had an extra day in there. I can't remember which one they had. Oh, they had a Juneteenth, I think. And then they have their extra day, is a half day Christmas Eve and a half day New Year's Eve. That's how Cortez did it. I'm not sure what you guys,
That's a half day New Year's Eve and a full day for Christmas Eve.
fully for Christmas Eve, and then Christmas off and the New Year's Day off fully. So
And then Indigenous Peoples Day.
just be.
I come from a federal background, like it gives you time to travel, like you said, that's the most important thing around the major holidays. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. I worked at the state. You just got the holiday. You didn't get the day before, the day after. You had to show up. That's the way it was for me, but,
I'm in favor for this.
Yeah, I am too.
I am, yeah.
okay, make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2023-06, a resolution amending the personnel policy adopted February 8, 2000, as amended October 14th, 2003, through resolutions 2000.
You can just say resolution. Listen, what are we?
Resolution 2306. 2023-06 for the Forest Lakes Metropolitan District.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm opposed, but it passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next. Is approval of auditor. NC.
So we informed you, the auditor we had terminated the contract. So day after that happened, or day after, I guess I met with you guys. I sent out, I researched all the special districts and municipalities in Archuleta, La Plata, Montezuma counties, and Alamosa County. Is that the county there? Anyway, and looked to see who had performed audits for special districts and municipalities. Came up with 24 accounting firms that have provided that. Emailed them all. I got 3 responses. 2 said we're not interested, and 1 was from Mr. Ray, who was on the Front Range, who gave us a bid last time we went through this, and then put in a new bid, and it's a couple $1,000s more. It's a little, $1,000 or $2 more than the last one, because there's work to unscrew things. It's going to cost that. So he's already started communicating with the auditor prior to us, just to kind of smooth the way if we hire him. That's the only person who.
The only one we got.
And he did put a bid, and we've made a lot of headway on our end to getting the documentation, everything together. But we'll get our list from them, just like you do every auditor. They know the situation. I've had Leslie communicating with him, just trying to give him the straight poop of where we're at on stuff, so he's not coming in with this blind. Leslie, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
One
Sorry.
question I have.
Cute. No, I think that he's a good choice. I worked with him on another district this year that had to get a new auditor, and they chose him. And so we've been through the whole audit process, and he was actually very good, very thorough. And one of the things that I did like about his resume and his letter is that he talked about working with districts that, or I think it was a state or a city or county or something, where there was work to be done. He's not afraid of that. So I think that he would be a good guy to help us kind of get on track and, work toward improving our financials for the future. I think he's a good choice.
So I have a question. This is probably going to be addressed to you. Is there anything that would protect the district if they just decide at the end, like he put in here, hey, if we decide that we don't want to do it anymore because it's not working. I don't know exact words.
So this agreement is billed by an hour. So they'll be billing us until they hit their do not exceed.
Okay.
So that means they'll be producing work for us. So let's say they do $100 worth of work and then they skip out. At least we have that $100 worth
Yeah,
of work.
okay. All right.
That's about as good as you're going to get. The last contract you had a chunk right at the beginning. You owed, I don't know, $7,000 or $10,000, like within the first 14 days, and then you owe the rest of it at the end. That's not how this one's crafted.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the auditing services agreement between the district and Ray and Company.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Right back.
That's the following weekend, first of all.
I know, last time was on.
Yes, you were.
Where are you from?
Yeah, from Durango, yeah.
Are you Durango?
Yeah, I'm out of Durango.
Okay, the next thing on our number 11 discussion items, draft budget.
I did a little more tinkering. I know I handed it out yesterday. I'll walk you through.
Yes. Warm.
Okay, so this is nowhere near where I would be comfortable giving you a draft budget. Okay. Right now, like I said, I'm going line by line through this year to see where the expenditures are. But there's a couple things in this that I wanted to bring your attention to. And probably the biggest one is this page, the general fund summary. It's 3 or 4 pages in. Okay. General fund summary. Okay. Okay. This one is going to be rough. We got this one? Okay. If you look, it says transfers out. For the longest time, it says the 2023 budget, you transferred $204,000 to the water fund and you had scheduled transferring $201,000 to the wastewater fund. Now you didn't transfer. What you guys did is you collected property tax receipts and just divvied them up amongst your funds. Some went to the general, some went to water, some went to the sewer. What should be happening is that money comes into the general side, is collected, and then it is loaned. It is given up to 10% that we've talked about, the tapered 10%. Anything else about that has to be loaned fund to fund. Okay. Your 10% tabor cap allows you to move, you're moving $204,000. It allows you to move $54,000. Wastewater, you were scheduled to move about $201,000, you can move $45,000 over. So the 400 some odd $1,000 you were moving over to keep your enterprises afloat, I've removed that so that we can stay in compliance with Tabor, have true enterprise accounts in preparation for incurring debt in the future. That's a whack at your resources. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, just pick a page, any page. You'll see the 23 budget and the 24 budget. The only difference between the two, okay, so I went through the 23 budget, found the best home I could put it. You hand me those bottom sheets right there, please. Yeah. And then in my spare time, is I took your old budget, okay? These new numbers is where it would show up in my budget for 24. That's what this document is, and I have it on the table here, okay? So as you look at the budget for 23, that's reflected in, this is where you would find where it used to be. Your budget for 23 and your budget for 24 in this particular document right now are the same. I just took the budget and put it in 24 as a placeholder so that you kind of see how the numbers operate. The big changes though is on every page where you have. So you have regular full-time, regular part-time, overtime, merit, bonus, para, health insurance, all those things, right? This top part of the personnel that's in every section, that is accurate for next year's staffing levels that we've approved. So everything in the personnel for fiscal year 24 is accurate. That'll be moved over. Everything else is basically a placeholder, so you can kind of see how compared to your budget with the payroll and without those transfers. In a month, we're going to have a public hearing for your budget. 24 will look different, okay? Because I'm going to be sitting down with staff. We're going to go through the needs of what they're going to need, put it in the budget. We're going to go through and see what you've tried to identify what normally spent. That's some of the research I'm doing now, and it'll be a complete budget, and then I'll fill out the 22 actuals and the 23 projected. Get you a full budget, and that'll be over. So in my first 2 months here, we spent an awful time working on staff issues. Just a lot of things happening. This is about as close as I can get you right now for a draft budget without knowing how the staff was going to be organized or how we were, or what our actual costs were last year. Now that I have 100% of my attention turned to this and the snow coming, it's going to be a lot clearer when we get to that November hearing. I'm
So
sorry I
this is-
couldn't get that farther down the road for you guys, but that's, I'm sorry.
This is what'll be turned in for.
So at the end, so when you guys approve a budget, it is going to be this document, and this is what your budget now will look like. Okay. And so, you compare it to your old budget, and it has, the numbers are correct. What, you have the back part of it, like I told you, what the detail will be. So when you say, contracts or contracted employment, contracted work, you'll have a list now of the detail of who we're actually contracting for how much. So we can go back. We have capital issues, he needs XYZ material, or is doing a capital project. That's now listed in the detail, and then they'll show up in the lines so that when we're halfway through next year, we go back and go, hey, what are we working on? The example I always use with you guys, one of the first meetings I heard was about buying the trucks. And it was, did we approve them? I'm not sure what we approved. Did we get them? Where we at on that? How much we budgeted? Now you're not going to have those issues because those types of things should be in the detail. So you turn back and say, oh, okay, yeah, we agreed to buy a truck and a plow and whatever we might. So that's what I'm going to be spending the next 3 weeks to a month doing with the staff, is going through and seeing what their historic needs have been. And you've been here all the weeks, so you'll know exactly what you need for capital. So will Daryl. But we'll do the best we can to get you some of the capital projects that we think are important. But it's basically to get you shifted from the old type of budget you had, the old system you had, to a new budget you have, a new spreadsheet. It'll drive that budgeting process that if you go this direction, you should be using now for the next decade. And this will match Cassell. So that is your draft budget, and it is very, very drafty. The numbers in 24 don't do you a hoot of good right now at all. But they're a placeholder to allow you to kind of see with payroll and without those transfers, kind of what you're looking at financially. As I get further into this, I'm concerned about the money for the enterprises, especially after taking that much out. But we'll see where it lands. We will get you guys a balanced budget. And then this coming year in 24 and executing the budget, we'll some and miss on others. You don't really, in my experience, you get to about your third year and you really dialed in a budget. This one's even worse because of how we're just changing kind of everything midstream, trying to get it done.
Well, I have a question. I know we're, taking 400,000 back to the general fund. What are your plans for that 400,000? What are we gonna apply it to?
I don't know. And this board, well, we'll do the calculation to see where your money is. It may be this year that you say, we just need more money over there and we're not gonna be Tabor compliant. And we're not gonna have an enterprise fund that's set up to work. If it's that desperate, I'm hoping it's not. If that money is set aside in the general fund, then that probably goes to a lot of roads and culverts and.
Well, that's the other thing I was getting at. So we take some of that and throw it toward recreation so we can
Absolutely,
fix some things up around the lake.
absolutely you can. And that's stuff.
Get money in the lake.
Yeah, and that's some things we'll be having a discussion about at the staff level and then come back to you guys. So right now, is there anything that you guys see that you really, really want for next year in the budget? Something that's been driving you crazy, a one-off for budgeting. If you don't have that right now, feel free to contact me in the coming weeks or so we can look at it.
Diving board?
Would be good. Hey, like I said, it's always good. It's good to want things.
We talked about it.
I want a pony that parts gold. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
It's good to want things, so.
Like to see the chairlift running.
For this budget has payroll been balanced.
For
Yeah.
this budget, I'm going through that right now. For 23, I just pulled out documents today.
Okay.
Yeah, I like where you're at. Maybe not next year, but
Hey,
let's
you
have a
had a
conversation.
bigger goal than I did.
I did.
You're thinking higher.
I did.
But
So anyway, this is what I've been talking to you about for a couple months. It's in the format that I've been talking to you right now. Like I said, I'm going through every single item this year, see where it's been spent, to see if it's coded right, so that we can get some idea at staff level and department level where we're spending, or where we think we're going to be spending money. It's taking shape. It's taking shape.
I do like this format.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And you have 4 funds. Your funds are general fund, which is tax-based largely. Conservation trust fund, which is money you get from the state. Water fund, which is fees. Sewer fund, which is fees, user fees. Okay. And then in there, like, you collect an impact fee, but that fee gets broken up and put into 3 places, as an example. So there's still things we're going to be looking at. You have something in the old budget. In like the water, you had penalties for property tax. Well, that doesn't belong in water because water doesn't get property tax. Water gets distributions and transfers from the general fund instead of just a straight infusion of tax dollars. So we're really trying to make your money be handled correctly, and I think this is going to help you guys do that. But yeah, taking $400,000 out of your enterprise funds is a whack.
Looks to be you.
Oh, I didn't mention this when we were having the budget. He looks really happy. But you know, if you go through and look at your expenditures right now, budget wise, they're not out of control. But we're gonna see what that looks like after I've done this review of this year. We'll see where we're at. I think your staff has just held off on doing a lot of stuff, right? You know, there's manholes and stuff we gotta deal with. That's $150,000-$200,000 project for the next 2 or 3 years. It's not just a one-off. So there's things that we're gonna have to identify and budget for year in and year out. Some delayed maintenance, some delayed projects, deferred projects, before we even get into just the general year in, year out maintenance part of this.
I have a question. You thought about setting up a fifth fund, a capital improvement fund?
So in each budget line item, it does have capital. It's not a capital improvement fund. It is in water, there is a line for capital. In general, there's a line for capital, but I've not set aside a capital fund because I'm not sure what that would get us with so few funds. Right? So it's not like we're bringing in receipts or stuff it's not like we have a sales tax that's earmarked, you know, point that goes to streets or something, where then you would have a separate fund for streets or a separate fund for capital. We're not set up that way. So anything that comes in for wastewater, we have a line for capital, we budget on that, and it'll be in the detail. But that's kind of where your revenue comes from. So you don't really need to block it out.
Thanks for putting that together.
That is your update. We're moving.
We are right on schedule then with having the budget. Yep. Draft budget. Thank you. Next thing is, staff interpretation, interaction.
Yeah, so we have new, staff concept, organization. I think this is a really good time. You know, I was talking to staff the past couple of days and they're like, well, what do I need to do for my report to the board? I said, you know, you're gonna be on about 100 hours by the time you do your first presentation to the board. So just tell them what you can, you know, they brought some notes in there. We want to know specifically, what do you need from this staff as far as monthly reports for you guys to do your jobs and your citizens to have some sort of comfort? And that's a discussion we want to have with you guys about, what do you need from us? Do you like it the way it is? Do you want it different?
First off, I like quantitative data, you know. We maintain X amount of miles of road, we put this much material down, this many meter reads, change out. And then that gives us verifiable proof that these guys are doing stuff. And when the residents come out and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, yeah, this is what they're, you know, look at the minutes, you can see the report here, what they're doing.
Right. I actually like the way that Daryl also did, like what roads they've been working on and what roads might be in the future, and giving some more detail.
And that's part of that quantifiable data.
So a little more
Right.
detail with that. I thought that was well done, the way he did that today. And like the information that we got from Mark today was very useful information. And that will be in the minutes. That will be stuff that the residents will be able to see too. Whether we understand it all, I'll say probably not. Sometimes it goes over our head, but you try to put it in such a manner that we could understand, like the hydrants and stuff and where we're standing and what the goal was. I appreciate that because I think that that's what the folks want to see as well. So again, quantitative stuff too. But if we do have issues, like you mentioned the leak and stuff, that's good to know that it's been there, but maybe nobody knew that it needed to be reported or something, or they did know about it and nobody did anything. And kind of nice to know that too, so that maybe our residents will feel free to make the call and let us know that we have issues somewhere so that we can get right on it. That's my thought. So yes, the way that it was done this evening, I thought was well done. Thank you.
So a couple questions. Do you guys continue wanting the well information? Can that just be taken out of here and put put in like his report.
Yeah, that,
That would be very nice, yes, 'cause it means,
That was the one thing. What's the other one? We always put in the,
And what about
and the
fleet?
property tax collection.
well, Drew,
And what about fleet reports?
You always had those kind of in a chart. Are you guys still wanting those?
See, I think that information, this is me personally, should be going to you. And any issues, you know, the emergency issues, down vehicles or need for replacement vehicles. That would be the information I would like, because standard, you know, daily reports or vehicle information, yeah, that should be to supervisors. You know, that type of level for me.
I mean, if it's a mission critical piece of equipment, I think that should be in the report, but if it pickup truck's down because it's got two flat tires and we're waiting on a tire shop, we don't even know about that.
Very good. Do you guys prefer these written or verbal? How do you?
I would like written.
Written?
They could give some kind of standard template. As each month thing's gonna change, you know, you're probably gonna have to add to it or whatever, but a standard template to have certain things filled out all the time and kind of like what Trevor's kind of did a little bit. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of the map living though too. With, you know, what's going on and just putting it in sentences, and here it is too, explaining a little more detail. Kind of like that as well, but maybe a template with, these are the basics, and then if there are any issues with that, a brief synopsis of what it was.
Well, there's always gonna be standard stuff that they do, right? The meters and the fire hydrants and, you know, if nothing's there to report on, then it's just doesn't go in the report. But I think an out of sight, out of mind, oh, I didn't report on this, when maybe they should have reported on it, or just to kind of give a baseline. Maybe, but I like to have it documented because then we've got it in here, we can refer back to it, we can look at it.
And then we can, you know, just like we do with all our reports, it's written, but if there's something that comes up or questions or anything, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from your guys' side? This is helpful.
Well, our question for Mark and Daryl, what would you guys think would be too encumbersome for you guys to put in your report? Like, are we asking for too much, too little? What are your guys' opinion?
I don't think so, because, you know, like, especially now that in my realm, there's things that happen throughout the year that don't happen the other part of the year. For instance, hydrants. That's gonna be something that happens during a portion of the year, and then we're not gonna discuss it really the rest of the year. So from my perspective, that would be something that got entered when it happened. You know, or we're planning on doing hydrants next month or something of that nature. You know, if we're doing manhole inspections or something, that would be something that happen primarily in the summer. You know, because they're covered in the winter usually.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, those kind of things would be seasonal from my perspective. And I don't know if you need to have a zero in that particular line item for a report for 9 months out of the year. The other 3, there's some numbers there.
Yeah.
That's something I would just present to you
Seasonal kind of.
in that way, when we're doing it. Meters, sure, we can see what, I think there's like 16 or 17 that need changed, and they're getting pushed further and further out now because of the things that are happening. So, you know, if we were jetting stuff, then there would be, you know, we jetted 1,000 feet today, or 1,500 feet, or 2,000 feet of sewer. That's usually going to be something that we're contracting to a contractor to do at this point. And so, you know, that's another thing that would be seasonal but relevant. With Daryl, I think he's probably going to have a lot of footage for you guys each month during the summer, not so much in the I don't think it's gonna be too much. I think once we try it a few times and you guys want more or less, you can input on that.
Refine it as it goes.
Yeah. I like that.
Could we put it on something like this, so, you know, kind of like what Guy has, and then it would be, you know, the wastewater treatment, and then Daryl would be
Wrong.
Rom.
Yeah, I
I
don't
just-
have a problem.
Yeah, I kind of like this format, and just, you know, you guys just need to put it all in there, that's fine. Doesn't have to be a template of everything.
Sounds good.
Daryl, any thoughts?
No, yeah, I mean, like he said, whatever you want from us, I don't mind doing that. As far as the numbers goes and how many miles of road we get done, I kind of feel both ways about it. I do feel that you should know what you're getting for your buck, but also, you know, you also have to get into the line and the realm of quality versus quantity. I mean, some of these roads are deep potholes. It takes a lot of extra time to get those potholes out. That's not just something you can just skim across and get it out and get it fixed.
And I don't want my staff barrier having to do this report.
Yes.
So it's that fine line of what's good for you, because that's the end goal is we staff you guys, right? And so your policymakers, we want you fully informed, we want the citizens fully informed. And like I said, I don't want them buried under trying to make it work. So we'll find that balance, I think.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you guys. If they felt like it was gonna be too much for them.
Too cumbersome to,
Yeah.
like you said, Barry.
So we'll have what I'm hearing, absolutely quantity data, written reports. Some of the things we hear we'll put in other places. Jamie, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, I'm just kind of curious to the details of what they would like. For my job, a lot of what I do is repetitive every month and can be kind of boring.
You need to know how many phone calls you get.
Excellent.
Anything else from you guys?
Well, I think we'll be flexible for like, if it works, or if we need to tweak it along the way. Then we'll be flexible as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Mark, Jamie, Daryl, anything from your guys' end? Okay, we will,
No,
we'll get you one next month and you guys let us know, but give us feedback because we want to make sure we're getting. Great, thank you.
Good. Discussion item, rules and regs subcommittee.
Yeah. You're turning around this conversation. And I've looked at this is since we're moving away from covenants, I think it might be worth taking a really hard dive into your rules and regs and bylaws for the district. But this is your guys' document. Staff is here to help you do this. But I would suggest forming an ad hoc committee of a board member and myself and maybe Joe or Josephine Citizen to be the ad hoc committee to review the current document and to make any recommendations to this board in the near future regarding this document. I think you need some things underpinned in writing. But there are things that we can do. So it'd be, right away recreation, all those things that you can do on your service plan. So we're not gonna be on people's property doing those types of things. That's all HOA stuff, covenant stuff. But what, for instance, the snow policy or the tow policy was put in there. I think there's other things that we may find as we go through the document. So that was my suggestion on how to Weed through that document, see what works, what doesn't, and make recommendations to this board. But I'm open for, and I thought it was important to get feedback from the citizens and get involvement from citizens to get that viewpoint. So it's not all just coming from a staff viewpoint.
I think it's a great idea to have citizens involved and not just the board as well. So, yes, I think that's a very good idea.
2 citizens, 2 board members and district manager.
Well, we don't want 2 board members. We want to be careful about.
Well, if 2 doesn't create a quorum, right, or does it with you being involved?
Well, no, I'm not.
No.
But 2 board members they can wait with. Yeah. We don't need an even or odd number. It's just recommendations to you guys. It's just, I'm just wanting, a view of eyes from this table, a view of eyes from where I sit, and just being citizen and how it may affect them. So however you form it, that's just trying to get accomplished. So
can we put a notice out or something and ask for some folks that would like to volunteer to be on that committee, maybe?
If we get 1 or 2 or 3, we just come in and say we got a committee. I got 15, then we'll say who do you want on your committee?
That would be wonderful.
Are you guys okay with starting the exercise of looking at your?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Good long look at those. Like we have nothing else to do.
They all need to be looked at.
How often would this be? How often would you want to meet up? Would it be more now? Less later? Or?
Probably a total. One is to introduce our, get together. What are we trying to accomplish? Let's go through the document, get some ideas. Break everybody into some research, come back with what they found, piece it together, maybe a little more, come back, make some recommendations. It's not an incredibly long document. It's not the most in-depth document. But I think that's how it would look. It shouldn't take 6 months. I'm expecting you guys to have this wrapped up at the end of the year.
I'd definitely be interested.
Board membership?
Yeah.
You too.
Great.
We'll get on board then.
I don't know. Does my situation create kind of a conflict of interest on that?
No. What's your, no. Okay, then we will go forth and try to find, so are you 2 guys in?
Yeah, I'm in that.
Okay, so we have 2 here. We'll try to pick up a citizen. If anybody's online wants to volunteer or send them our way, and we'll put stuff out and we'll try to get it cracking.
Good.
If we get it going, I may just start it and then report to you guys out. That's cool with you.
That would be wonderful, yes.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That takes us to number 12, approval of disbursements.
I motion to approve check register September 1st through September 30th in the amount of $114,729.88.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. So approved. And then the last item, number 13.
Like to make a motion for.
We have an executive. So do we, Jen, first?
No, you make the motion during the meeting.
Yeah.
And if it's approved, then you go to executive session.
That should be,
And I'm sorry I didn't get you a script.
no, there's we need to do that right now, though. I found the one that we had earlier. So, we're not adjourning yet, not number 13. What we're going to do is we're going to, we've approved the disbursements. Now we're going to go into the executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4B for the purpose of receiving legal advisement, questioning or regarding the scope of the district's service.
And so that would be a motion. So there's a motion.
There's a motion to go to the
Executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4B for the purpose of receiving legal questions regarding the scope of district services. So that would be the motion.
Okay, that's the most made.
I'll second.
So we are now in executive session.
Okay. That's the brief timeout.
Timeout.
Do you guys want to go to the bathroom and take a 5-minute break?
Yep.
And we'll get everybody offline and then it'll be
Just us.
then you will get sworn in at the next meeting.
All right.
And feel free to come in and talk to me.
All right.
Give me a call and I'm happy to walk you through everything I know.
All right, cool. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. And Godspeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. And thank you, Mark.
Everybody else, we're done with the online.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining us.